At 5 years old, he stood on a wooden boat barely holding together, the ocean swallowing every direction, water running out, hope thinning with each wave. He did not know the name of the country that would save him. He only knew the sound of engines in the dark and the hands that pulled his family back from disappearing forever. Nearly 40 years later, that same child would stand on the deck of one of the most powerful warships in the world, wearing the uniform of the very Navy that once rescued him, returning to the waters of his birth not as a refugee, but as a commanding officer. A boy without a country, a sea without mercy. Lê Ba Hung was born in 1970 in Hue, a city of quiet rivers and ancient walls. His early childhood unfolded in a Vietnam already heavy with uncertainty. His father, Lê Ba Thong, served as an officer in the Navy of the Republic of Vietnam, a man shaped by duty, discipline, and an unspoken understanding that history was moving faster than families could keep up with. By late April of 1975, the world his father had sworn to protect collapsed in a matter of days. When his superior fled the country without warning, Lê Ba Thong did not abandon his post. He took command, and when Saigon fell, he faced a decision no father should ever have to make: stay and surrender, or flee and gamble his children's lives on the sea. He chose the sea. On April 30th, he released his soldiers to go home and save their families. Then he took his wife and his youngest child, 5-year-old Hung, and boarded a small fishing boat. There was no time to gather belongings, no time for goodbyes. His older children were still in Hue, trapped by distance and chaos. A family was broken in half in silence. The boat was overcrowded. Refugees pressed shoulder to shoulder. Drinking water ran low. Fuel nearly vanished. For a child, the ocean felt endless and indifferent. There were no bedtime stories, only the groan of wood and the relentless slap of waves. Hope thinned with every mile. Then, on May 1st, something unimaginable happened. An American Navy replenishment ship appeared. The next day, a U.S. warship rescued them completely. For Hung, there was no understanding of geopolitics, only the sudden warmth of safety. The hands that lifted him aboard did not speak his language, but they saved his life. That moment became the invisible anchor of his future. In the United States, the family arrived with nothing. No money, no certainty. His father went looking for work the very next day, refusing to become a burden. He packaged goods in a market, hands blistered, pride intact. Their life in Virginia was humble, fragile, and built hour by hour. 8 long years passed before the family reunited with the children left behind in Vietnam. 8 years of absence, letters, and unanswered questions. Childhoods were lost on both sides of the ocean, but something had already taken root in the youngest son's heart. The memory of that gray ship, the feeling of being pulled back from oblivion. Gratitude hardened into purpose. Without realizing it, a refugee child had already chosen his destiny. The uniform that carried memory. For Lê Ba Hung, joining the U.S. Navy was never just a career choice. It was an act of remembrance. He wanted to follow his father's path, not to reclaim a fallen past, but to honor sacrifice. More than that, he wanted to repay a debt that could never truly be repaid: the chance to live. At the United States Naval Academy, he learned to stand straight, to lead, to endure pressure that cracked weaker resolve. He studied not only tactics and engineering, but responsibility, the weight of command, the cost of mistakes. He graduated in 1992, stepping aboard his first warship not as a saved child, but as a naval officer. His journey was relentless. Advanced military education, strategic research, master's degrees earned while others rested. Every achievement carried quiet urgency, as if time itself were watching. In 2009, history folded in on itself. Lê Ba Hung was appointed commanding officer of the USS Lassen, one of the most advanced missile destroyers in the world, hundreds of millions of dollars in firepower, 300 sailors under his command, a responsibility that tolerated no hesitation. For the first time, a Vietnamese refugee child stood on a U.S. Navy bridge as captain. But the most profound moment was still ahead. That same year, 34 years after fleeing, his ship returned to Vietnam. As the USS Lassen entered Da Nang Harbor alongside the flagship USS Blue Ridge, the captain felt emotions no training could prepare him for. Anxiety gave way to memory. Pride collided with grief. He was returning not as a son seeking refuge, but as an officer representing the nation that saved him. He walked streets he had not seen since childhood. He visited family graves. He held relatives he had only known through photographs and stories. His father, who could not yet bring himself to return, sent messages filled with pride and longing. For 4 days, duty filled his hours. There was little time for nostalgia, yet every step on Vietnamese soil echoed with something deeper: reconciliation, not political, but human. He returned again in 2012, and again in 2015. This time, commanding multiple warships, speaking Vietnamese to the press, placing his hand over his heart as he spoke of gratitude, identity, and belonging. He was American by citizenship, Vietnamese by blood, and shaped by both. Guarding the sea that once took him. As Colonel Le Ba Hung rose to command destroyer squadrons in the Pacific, his responsibilities expanded beyond personal history. He now oversaw regions where tension simmered, waters near the South China Sea, where power, sovereignty, and history collided. The irony was unmistakable. The sea that once nearly ended his life had become the space he was sworn to protect. Under his leadership, warships patrolled contested waters with discipline and restraint. Advanced technology filled the decks: helicopters, unmanned aircraft, precision systems. But command was still about people. Sailors with families, sailors with fears, sailors who trusted his judgment in moments where seconds mattered. When he returned to Vietnam in 2015, commanding the USS Fitzgerald and USS Fort Worth, there was no nervousness left, only warmth, only openness. He greeted Vietnamese journalists in their own language. He spoke of cooperation, understanding, and shared futures. He emphasized humanitarian missions, rescue operations, trust building, not dominance. Standing on the deck, he embodied something rare, proof that history's wounds could evolve into bridges. For him, the South China Sea was not just a strategic region, it was a living memory. Every patrol was layered with meaning: defensive stability, respect for sovereignty, and the quiet hope that no child would ever again drift across those waters unseen. His career continued, awards followed, promotions followed. But the core of his story remained unchanged. He was still that boy on a boat, remembering the hands that saved him, and choosing, every day, to become hands others could rely on. The boy the sea did not take. Some lives are shaped by moments so fragile they could have vanished unnoticed. A wave too high, a ship too late, a decision made minutes later. Le Ba Hung's life survived on the narrowest edge of chance, yet what makes his story extraordinary is not survival alone, it is what he chose to build from it. He did not let trauma harden into bitterness. He did not let loss erase belonging. Instead, he carried memory forward, transforming gratitude into service and exile into purpose. He became proof that refugees are not burdens, but possibilities, that children saved by compassion can one day safeguard peace, that history, however cruel, does not get the final word. Standing on the deck of a U.S. warship, overlooking the waters of his birthplace, he once said, "Vietnam will always be home. Not because it was perfect, not because it was easy, but because it was where his story began. And perhaps that is the deepest truth of all. Home is not only where we come from, it is what we choose to protect."